Hi, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're tackling a hidden challenge that many IoT development teams face. How do you effectively test your application for, thousands of devices that aren't even deployed yet?
It's a huge question, and a common answer teams arrive at is, let's just build our own simulator.
Right.
On surface, it makes sense. You know your device, you know your data.
Sure.
How hard could it be?
That's the tempting part, but it's a path that it's filled with blind spots. The first major one is that these simulators are often built with a cloud-first mindset,
Okay.
completely ignoring the edge environment. So you end up with a system that might work perfectly in the lab,
Right.
but fails when it's faced with the real-world constraints of edge computing.
And speaking of the real world, what about the network? I mean, homegrown simulators often operate in a perfect digital world with zero connection issues. They don't account for network latency or data loss,
Hmm.
which are, let's be honest, everyday realities for IoT devices. You're essentially testing for a best-case scenario that rarely, if ever, exists.
That disconnect from reality, it gets even worse when you look at load testing. A lot of these custom tools are designed to simulate website traffic,
Okay.
treating devices like users who just, click and leave. But an IoT device isn't a user.
Right.
It's always on, constantly communicating and maintaining its state.
That's a critical difference. Simulating 1,000 users is not the same as simulating 1,000 smart thermostats.
Exactly. This mismatch is why platforms crash in production at loads they supposedly handled easily during testing. The simulation it was fundamentally wrong.
And it's not just about data going out. Most of these in-house simulators, they're designed for device-to-cloud communication.
Hmm.
They barely touch on cloud-to-device commands, like a remote update or a shutdown signal.
Dramatic. This leaves huge untested gaps in your system's logic.
And maybe the biggest bottleneck of all is automation. These custom-built tools, they almost never integrate with modern automated CI/CD workflows.
Wow.
It creates this dynamic where your software development is a high-speed sports car, but your device testing is, well, it's a slow manual horse cart attached to the back.
Yeah,
And that horse cart dictates your true speed.
exactly. So that initial, simple idea of a custom simulator, it evolves into this complex, high-maintenance system
Right.
that doesn't even provide a realistic view of your product's performance.
It really changes your perspective on what thorough testing actually means. Now, here's a question we'd like you to think about. When you test your system, are you preparing for the real world, or are you just testing for the ideal conditions inside your own lab?